We are live here on YouTube and Zoom.
What's up, everybody? It's Coaster Maniacs, and we are live with the one and only James ELlSEWORTH. What's going on?
Thank God there's only one and only James ELlSEWORTH. How's everybody? Hope everybody's doing well.
How's everybody doing? I know we strung you along the whole couple of days, not knowing who the hell I got on the show, but surprise!
I hope you guys are happy. I know some of you probably aren't, but I don't give it. I'm good.
Well, many things to talk about. It looks like you have some fans in the chat as well. For starters, you defeated AJ Styles. How many times?
I lost count after like twice. It's like 3. I think it's 3. I'll be honest. I know it's 3. I know all the trivia. So yeah, I beat AJ Styles not once, not twice, but 3 times.
3 times. 3 times. And so, I guess since most of my fans are WWE and wrestling fans, and there's a bunch of GTS fans, it looks like, as well. So, I mean, how was that? Like, obviously you got into it with Braun Strowman. That's how everybody knew in your famous catchphrase. But
yeah, man. Any man with 2 hands has a fighting chance.
But like, did they tell you in advance, like, hey, you might be going for, like, this is gonna be, or did they say, like, no, this is just one-off?
Well, it was supposed to be a one-off, but I did the match, cut the promo, and right after the match, I went to Gorilla, and Vince McMahon told me I did an outstanding job, and that he'd be in touch with me. He was going to sign me, and I thought for sure he was kidding, and obviously he wasn't, and he was a man of his word, and he winded up signing me. It's just the best compliment you can get in wrestling is Vince McMahon telling you you did a good job, and he's going to give you a job out of it, which that doesn't happen to enhancement talent. And, enhancement talent, 99 times out of 100 are there to get beat up by the superstar and make look good and then be on our way. But obviously, God had a different plan for me, and I was very blessed.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm certainly glad that popcorn. Yeah, no, because I mean, you recently your last run was awesome. By the way, you and Carmella, and winning the first ever women's Money in the Bank match.
It's crazy. That was 3 years ago today.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Wow, the timing on that then. Wow.
Yeah, it's probably a moment in wrestling that'll never be forgotten. Like in 25 years, people are going to be going, remember the first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match? And that little dude, James ELlSEWORTH, climbed the ladder, grabbed the briefcase, and gave it to the girl.
So, I mean, what was your mind? What was going through your mind then? Like, did you, you knew obviously that what you had to do, but like, did you expect the outcome, like, with all the fans? And
I absolutely loved it. It's great. If you want to go back and watch it, like when I'm climbing the ladder, the crowd's going nuts. They're like popping and they're cheering. And when I grabbed it, just this big pop, big cheer. And then as soon as I dropped it to her, they went and started booing. So I really think they wanted me to grab the briefcase, climb down the ladder, and take off with it. I think that's what they wanted me to do. But at the moment I dropped it to Carmella, that was the heat. And that's what you need. In wrestling, there's not a lot of heat. There's no real heels. Everybody's either a cool heel or, people respect them or what. Like, you need somebody that people want to see get beat up.
Yeah.
And I happened to be that somebody after that, and I loved it. We always knew we were going to do the second Money in the Bank ladder match at SmackDown and to pop a rating, and it did. So it served its purpose. People were talking about it, and that's a moment in wrestling people will never forget. And I'm a part of that, and I know that, and I cherish that moment.
And to their point too, Carmella still won it right after too.
Oh yeah.
So it was a troll within a troll. But
yeah, that was her best run. She became the champion after that. They gave me a little break and brought me back with her, and to this day, that's still her best run. And and man, it was fantastic. And she's awesome, man. I'll just say that off the top. She's an amazing person, good talent, very smart, business sense. Like, she's real good at what she does.
It seems, yeah. I mean, they have a channel as well. It seems like she is an overall great person as well.
Oh yeah.
But so you also just actually, for all the people that know you from GTS, I gotta be honest, I haven't watched GTS in a while. So I mean, you were on it the last time I watched, but that was back when it was you and Heelwave. It's been a minute. For that gender title you had.
Yeah, the intergender title. When I left WWE, went to the Indies, I was like, I want to do something fun. And the last thing you saw me doing on WWE was wrestling Becky Lynch and messing with all the girls and getting beat up with all the girls. So I'm like, what can I do on the Indies to like keep this going? So I was like, I'll make an intergender title and I'll tell everybody I'm going to beat up all the girls on the Indies. I'm going to go back to WWE and I'm going to beat them up too. So like, we did this intergender title, and I started getting booked against every girl in the Indies, everywhere, all over the world. I defended the belt in Canada, the United Kingdom, all over the U.S. And WWE brought me back, and who did I wrestle? Asuka. So it worked. Like, my plan worked, and that was all just a plan. And it served its purpose. I got a good year and a half out of doing that, and it was a lot of fun. So I just got to figure out what's the next thing to do to interest people? And I haven't figured that out yet, I think, but I'm going to soon.
But if you were to be, say, if you were in the WWE right now, and you were allowed to face another woman, who would that be with today's current roster?
So I think for the fans, it's like, what girl there now would they, I think Asuka was on top of the list and I already faced her, but like, somebody who I haven't faced would probably be Carmella. People would like to see James Ellsworth versus Carmella, probably. If not her, because her and I never like officially like broke off. Like, we're still like, the last time I was there, we were still friends on screen. The best girl there, I think, in ring is Sasha Banks. I just think she's the most talented one as far as wrestling goes. So, that'd be a fun match, I think.
Yeah, no doubt. And same goes for the guys, too. Who would love to, including people in NXT, because let's face it, people in NXT's getting hot again.
Oh, yeah. I think Karrion Kross and Scarlett together, that's probably the coolest thing on TV right now, in my humble opinion. But as far as people like I would like to face, I'd like to have another like match with Braun Strowman, because he's Universal Champion right now for number one. Number two, we never had a rematch. Like, we had, I ran into him at the Survivor Series and I held his foot and he got eliminated from the Survivor Series match. And then we ran into each other again at the Royal Rumble and he eliminated me. Like, I think there's still like a story there. And then, like, I always think about what would the fans want to see James Ellsworth do. I think the fans would want to see James Ellsworth come back and go after the 24/7 title that R-Truth has.
Yes, I can see it now.
That's what the fans would want. And right now, the 24/7 title is not as hot as it once was. So I believe if they brought me back and we did that for a couple of weeks, I think people would be intrigued and entertained by that.
You and R-Truth would be amazing.
Oh, man, he's so funny. He's so talented. And that's why he's been there forever. He's just hilarious.
Now, so I know what everybody in the community is going to want to see in the chat, but let's ask the chat that as well. What would you like to see? Who would you like to see James face? I'm pretty sure a lot of them are going to probably say The Fiend, but
yeah, man. I like to perform. I like to wrestle anybody and just perform and have fun. That's what I'm all about. Wrestling's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be entertainment. It's supposed to make you forget about the regular world and have a good time. And that's just what I'm all about, man. I don't pay attention to any negativity or anything. I just focus on performing and having a good time with the art form known as wrestling.
So Killer Sasuke says, remember because Jericho put you on the list of Jericho and you started crying.
Oh, yeah. Because, man, that list, if you got put on the list back in 2016, that was like a big deal, right? Like, the list was most popular. Like, it was more popular than the wrestlers, the little clipboard and Jericho's pen. So, yeah, that was a fun moment on Raw, right before Survivor Series that we were just talking about. And, yeah, that he, 2016. When people think about that year, they think about like Broken Matt Hardy or James Ellsworth or The List. Like, so that was a fun deal there on Raw with Jericho, and he's the best, man. I couldn't think of a better guy that I became friends with in the business than Chris Jericho. He's a great guy.
Who came up? So was that you that actually came up with that catchphrase, or did they like, okay, go out there and go stand next to Braun and say this?
No, I came up with it. They gave me a promo, and I remember asking the writer, who was Jimmy Jacobs. I said, "Hey, I'm punching Braun twice. Can I say any man with two hands has a fighting chance?"
Wow.
And he's like, "Oh man, that's a cool line. Yeah, go ahead and say it." So I went out there and said it, and that's like today, for instance, it's so cool to me and still really weird. I was in the grocery store and somebody came up to me, "Oh, James Ellsworth, any man with two hands has a fighting chance." I'm like, man, it's so cool that those are my words that I made up, and that's what people know me by. Like,
absolutely.
And that, the best thing for any artist and any type of entertainment is to come up with your own art or you paint your own picture, and that's what people know you by. Like, and like I feel like WWE with the writers and all, they have a hard job. They got to write 52 weeks of TV for 2 or 3 different shows a week, and it's very hard. But yeah, I feel like the wrestlers should get more, like, just be able to say more of what's in here instead of what's on a sheet of paper. And nothing against the writers or whatever. I think they are needed to help you out. But there really should be, like, any artist, if you're in music, you're in entertainment or Hollywood or like whatever, wrestling, like, you should paint your own picture. Nobody can tell your story better than you, I think.
And they started. I feel like they started doing that a little bit, but I feel like they started tapering off on like the freedom of that a little bit more. Didn't they? I mean, we had Sami Zayn mention AEW in a promo. What was it, last year, 2 years ago?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he got that cleared before he said it.
I would hope so. If not, I would not want to be in his shoes when he got to talk to Vince McMahon. Speaking of that, did you actually have a lot of talks with him backstage, or was it just
Vince McMahon? Yeah, I've probably talked to him like 24 times, and it was always pleasant. He was never, he always told me, "Good job, you're doing great," which is crazy because one minute you're doing great, next minute you're gone. You're like, "Wait, he's been telling me I'm doing great the whole time." But he I don't know, man. The way I think about Vince McMahon is the man gave me my dream job. I traveled the world on his dime, and he changed my life forever. And that's just the way I look at it. So I don't ever say anything bad about him because that, to me, that, he gave me all those opportunities, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So I will never publicly say anything bad about him.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, you just love wrestling no matter what is and for against who, and there's not a lot of people out there now, because there's a lot of people that are like, I don't want to lose to this guy, or I don't want to lose to that guy, and Goldberg. But
it's just, guys, what I don't get is everybody whining on social media and crying about their spot. I'm like, you work for the biggest wrestling company in the world. You're making a lot of money. You're living your dream. What's so wrong with your life? It don't make any sense to me.
Again, much respect. It's not a lot of people that are out there that like that.
It's a shame, man. I just keep it positive and keep it moving, and you should be appreciative of what you have, because what you have, if you're on that level, a lot of people would love to have, and you are lucky and fortunate to be in that position. And I don't think enough people understand and know that.
So I think a lot of people want to know, what was it like to work with AJ Styles?
Oh, he's the best in-ring performer in wrestling, and when you're in there with him, you're in there with the best, and he was the champion at the time. So for me, I'm main event SmackDown on WWE with the best wrestler in the world for the title. It didn't get any better than that for me. It's never going to get any better than that for me. How could it? You're in the main event against the best wrestler in the world for the world title, and he's such a great guy in real life, and he treated me very well. He was just the absolute best person I've ever worked with. And I really missed working with him. Like, it was a lot of fun, and he took care of me, and we keep in touch every now and then, and he's I can't say enough nice things about him. He's a really, really
awesome.
good guy.
That's awesome. And especially, I mean, everybody talks about like that whole AJ Styles clash that you took.
Yeah.
With, like, can you go back to that moment? Like, looking back and watching it, like, I'm sure you watched it back, yeah?
Yeah, man. So, like, if you go on YouTube and you look up 7 Deadliest Style Clashes, you'll see Roderick Strong, Frankie Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, Stevie Richards, just to name a few. Take it the same way I did. It's because when you're in wrestling school, you get told to tuck your chin, I mean, a million times a day. So when he had me, like, I took in the move before,
yeah.
And when he had me, like, I just wasn't, like, I was ready for him to go right away. And when he didn't, I kind of, like, I didn't know I was wrestling him until that day, and you're wrestling the world champion in the main event on TV. And I remember going, what's he doing? What's going on? And then, like, it was just a brain fart. But I took it so many times after that on house shows and again on TV. Like, he Styles clashed me off the stairs and took it fine, no problem, And like, I've been wrestling 18 years now, and I think the coolest thing about me is I've never, ever, ever hurt anyone. Knock wood, and I'm very safe in the ring. So if anybody's going to get hurt when they're wrestling me, it's going to be me. And that was, if I would have gotten hurt there, which I didn't, because AJ's the best, and he saw that, I didn't set myself right, so he saved me. But I would have just, it would have been my fault, and I would have hurt myself. But I didn't even feel it. It was completely fine, and that was like the only mistake I made in the ring the whole time I was at WWE. So,
hey, I mean, if that was it, then you definitely came out lucky. And
check out the 7 Deadliest Styles Clashes. You'll see all these awesome, amazing wrestlers, Frank Kazarian and Roger Strong, all doing the same thing.
I do gotta give you guys credit too, because when we went to WrestleMania 35 and we went to Access, and they let you go into I believe it was the original WrestleMania ring they had set up at Access, and
cool.
had like some of the same stuff in there, like the ropes and all that. And again, everybody who's never been into a ring or anything like that thinks it's a trampoline, and it doesn't. You're just bouncing. Stepping foot in a ring myself now, and just the ropes hurt. All right.
Oh yeah, the ropes, especially WWE ropes. They're real rope, and man, yeah, it all hurts. Like, I mean, yeah, we get trained to protect ourselves while we're in there, but it doesn't matter. It all hurts. Like, you never get used to the pain. You never get used to taking the bumps and getting up and getting the wind knocked out of you. And it's really, really a very hard thing to do, is wrestle. And and like the average guy, if they get in there and they take a bump, they're going to get up and never get back in the ring again. It's a very tough physical thing to do.
Yeah, and chops. Let me tell you, chops hurt.
No, yeah, that you're just slapping the person in the chest as hard as you can.
There's an indie show near me, and I don't know if they're still running at the moment. Probably not, but I was gonna be doing their DJ lights. I was gonna set up lights and do their light system, and the guy's like, "Hey, you want to take a chop?" I'm like, "Yeah, how bad can it be?" Yeah, nope, never again.
What indie show was that?
TIW is what they're called.
Okay. Shout out to TIW. Who runs it?
A guy named Lance Maxwell.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I can't tell you what it stands for anymore. A totally independent wrestling, I think.
Nice.
But I mean, we also had like New England wrestling. You've ever heard of New England wrestling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wrestled for them. Before.
Yeah. We've had they've came into like
big time wrestling's real big around that area, right? Big time wrestling.
To be honest, where I am right now, currently, there's not a lot of wrestling stuff around
Look
anymore.
up Big Time Wrestling. They're based out of Massachusetts, and but they run all over the place, like 13, 14 different states. They're very good. They use big names all the time, and I wrestle for them a lot.
I'll have to definitely check that out. John, I can tell you how that. So John wants to know how Grim is behind the scenes, and I can say just from what I met him two times. I mean, you know him well more better than I do, but just seeing him, he is who he is behind the camera, and ultimately a great guy.
Oh yeah, well, like the camera, I mean, he turns it up a notch, but it's just him turned up a notch on the camera. Like off the camera, he's funny and goofy, and and all over the place like he is on the camera. It's the same dude, just turned down a little bit when the camera's off.
Yeah. I mean, I met him at Access, and that ring that I was mentioning, the reason why I knew he was over there is because next thing you know, I'm in line, people say, "Oh, hey, it's Grim," and then all of a sudden, he's super kicking somebody in the ring.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're like, they must have let that go. Like, all right, cool.
He won't care.
Yeah, just do it anyway. But so any people that aren't in the business anymore, like aren't in WWE, that moved over, like Dean Ambrose, anyone like that you wish you were able to get in the ring with when you were still there, like Undertaker or anything like that?
Well, yeah, like Undertaker, I did the Cutting Edge show with Edge, and Undertaker came out.
Yeah.
So that was cool. I got to be in the ring and watch the Undertaker's entrance and be in the same ring with him at the same time. And, I've been a WWE fan my whole life. When the Undertaker first came out in 91, I was 6, 7 years old. And I remember when he first came out in 90 or 91. And I think it was 90. And so watching that entrance for over 25 years and actually being in there while he was doing it was amazing, and but as far as Ambrose goes, we did the thing where I was with him for a couple of months, and I really think we should have went longer with him and I together, because he was like badass crazy and I was stupid crazy, and there were 2 car crashes in one garage, and I really think it was a good odd couple tag team that it could have been for a little while, and I wish I would have had more time with him. He's an outstanding talent. Obviously, he's doing well still, and I wish we could have went longer with that angle with him and I. Like even after the AJ Styles stuff, I wish him and I had more time together on SmackDown.
Yeah, no, that program was great. I mean, him helping you out with AJ. I mean, all 3 of you were able to be in the ring together was awesome. Getting a lot of, will we see James back in the WWE anytime soon?
Well, that's I'm just a phone call away. WWE is my home. It's where always wanted to be. It's where I got to be, and it's where I hopefully will wind up again someday. And I mean, like look at guys like MVP, John Morrison, and Bobby Lashley that are back on there. They had been gone for over 8 years, all of them. Shelton Benjamin, I'd like to name a few, and they were gone for so long, and then they came back. Like that's the thing about wrestling fans, like they don't forget you. Like you could be gone for a long, long time, and if you come back, the real wrestling fan will remember you. And so, I mean, it could be 6 weeks from now, 6 months from now, or 6 years from now. But I feel like you haven't seen the last of James Ellsworth forever. Like, I feel like at some point, whether it's a cameo appearance, a Royal Rumble appearance, something with Carmella, something with AJ Styles, like Swamp Braun Strowman, at some point, like I said, it could be 6 months from now, 7 years from now, I will pop back up. I believe in my heart. Anyway, we'll see.
I think a lot of people will want to see that as well. Oh boy, Sonny Wolf. So Sonny Wolf is notorious in the community here for living at Tim Hortons over in Canada. Wants to know if you know what Tim Hortons is or ever been to one.
Tim Hortons, heck yeah! When when we did all the house shows in Canada, TV in Canada. I actually did the ladder match with AJ Styles in Ontario, Canada, and Ottawa. I think it was Ottawa. It might have been Ottawa. And anytime I went to Canada, I went to Tim Hortons. Rhino and I used to ride together when I first got to WWE. And we went to Tim. We did a 4-day trip together, and we went to Tim Hortons every day, all 4 days in a row. So I love the chili there. The chili there is my favorite thing.
Oh boy, I definitely know you just made her day, her night. She always there every single day.
The best.
James Ellsworth is Shane actually the best in the world? Says Chalmers.
I mean, who doesn't love Shane McMahon? Another guy I was a teenager watching on TV that I got to work with, got to be in the ring with during promos a lot.
Yeah.
I had breakfast with him a few times, like before the show. Got along with him great, very fun to be around. I remember one time, here's a good Shane McMahon story. We did it, I think it's that same SmackDown, the Ottawa, Canada, and they had kicked Dean Ambrose out of the building. He couldn't interfere in AJ and I's ladder match. And Shane did a promo where Dean Ambrose, who had been kicked out of the building by Shane McMahon, walked in to the screen wearing the Maltese gear. Remember the Maltese? He was in the Maltese gear. Shane was like, "What the hell are you doing here? I kicked you out. Why are you dressed as the Maltese?" And Daniel Bryan was standing there too when he was a GM.
Yeah.
So anyway, Shane McMahon left, and this is a live shot. And Dean Ambrose looked right at Daniel Bryan and said, "Remember, the Maltese always gets his man." And Shane McMahon and I were off the camera just laughing and holding each other's mouth. And I was laughing loud. And Shane was elbowing me, telling me to stop laughing as he's laughing. And we were just – and then as soon as they said cut and they went to another commercial or whatever, Shane and I just busted out laughing because he said the Maltese always gets his man. You know, me being a fan my whole life knew what that was. And Shane obviously knew what it was too. He's a fan too. We were just dying laughing. So that was a funny Shane McMahon and James Ellsworth behind the scenes story.
I know, yeah, that's the thing that a lot of people think about wrestling and wrestlers is like they have so much heat with each other, they don't like each other, and then they go back stage and they just there's I mean you guys there's no one really hates each other back there.
It's just like any other job where, there's some people at the job you don't like, and there's you like most of the people and you get along with most of the people. It's just like any other. It's no different than working at Burlington Coat Factory and you don't like the guy that works in receiving. You know what I mean? Like, but you get along with everybody else. It's just like any other job. But I got along with mostly everybody, and I had a great time with mostly everybody.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, we got we never really seen you like on any of their other shows, like off of like how like Ride Along.
I was on Ride Along.
You were on Ride Along. Okay, I must have missed that.
Daniel Bryan and I, yeah. Check it out, WWE Network.
What was the best person you worked with? That's a good loaded question.
My favorite person there, I really had a lot of fun with Shinsuke Nakamura. Very funny guy. We went surfing together, stuff like that. So I'd name him. Luke Harper was a lot. He's Brody Lee now. He was a lot of fun to be around. He is such a funny guy. I really just liked being around him because he was so hilarious. So I missed being around him just because of that. He was so good to be around.
Who would you as a dream tag team, if James Ellsworth had to pick anybody he wanted for his tag team partner, who would that be?
Would it be past or present?
Either one.
Well, past Ricky Morton because he's the greatest tag team wrestler of all time, so I think that'd be cool. I love the Rock and Roll Express, and I don't know. I just think he's the best tag team wrestler ever is Ricky Morton. Present, like who? I don't know. Like I wish maybe Braun Strowman and I could be a tag team. I could be Brains and he could be Braun. It would be a great tag.
The Brains and the Braun. Yeah. Well, how was it stepping in the ring with Braun Strowman? I mean, that was obviously the first time we saw you on that show, but I mean, he is. I saw him live a couple times, and the TV does not do him justice.
Oh, he's a legit monster. He hits very hard. I remember he clubbed me in the chest during the match, and if you go back and watch it, it looks like I take the most perfect, beautiful, clean back bump of all time. That wasn't a bump. That was me just falling down for real because he hit me so hard. Yeah, he's intense, he's physical, and he's believable, and that's why he's successful.
Yeah, no, for sure. And same, he definitely reminds me a lot of the Big Show, and in many ways, not just because he's a huge guy, but I mean, the Big Show's been there forever. Have you had any like backstage interactions with Big Show as well, or?
Yeah, like
like stuff that we don't see, like many of the stars that are still there that we never see on TV or anything.
Well, I was at SmackDown 1000 in October 2018, and he was back there. You know, and he was telling me how good of a job I did on TV, and good luck with everything, and you know, you're a good kid, and like, yeah, he's just a nice guy, very gentle giant.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on AEW? Do you watch it? Do you like it?
I mean, I like some stuff on there. I like MJF a lot. I think he's old school heel. He really, really does very well at his job. I like him. Darby Allin's pretty cool. So like, I'm naming new guys because obviously everybody likes Chris Jericho and everybody.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not trying to name like the WWE guys. I'm trying to name so I like Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford together. I think that's a good package. They're engaged in real life, and it comes off on TV that how much they care about each other, and you know they're both talented, so that's a good pairing. Yeah, so those are pretty much my favorites there that are new people to television.
Everybody keeps asking the same question too. It's how was Bray Wyatt backstage?
Oh, he's a blast. He's a lot of fun. He's just great. Like so him and I both love a good chicken wing. So you know, a lot of the guys are in shape and want to go eat steak and chicken and protein, and Bray Wyatt's like, James, you want to go to Buffalo Wild Wings? Like, you know, and we would just go eat chicken wings. And he was really good to me. He was the guy, like, even when I signed there, I was dressing with the extras until somebody says, hey, come and dress in the locker room with us. Because I'm old school, and that's the way I was taught.
Yeah.
So I was walking in the building one day, and Bray grabbed me. He's like, why are you still dressing with the extras? He's like, you know, you're signed here. I'm like, hey, I was just waiting for somebody to tell me I could dress with you guys. He's like, yeah, you're with us now. Come dress with us. I'm like, thank you. So he was the guy that did that for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And back then, I mean, the Fiend was not even a thought. Well,
man, I love that character. And when he lost to Goldberg, I was so bad. Like I was just so mad, man. Like that was so dumb to me. Like I think that's what started the coronavirus with Goldberg jackhammered him.
I think a lot of people in this community are gonna agree with
God,
that.
it was so stupid. Meant nothing. Did nothing for Goldberg. Hurt the Fiend character. Like, anyway, just my humbled opinions here.
We definitely have a lot of Bray fans in the community, and actually, so the cool part is, SmackDown is coming to Albany, New York, hopefully in September. Hopefully everything gets...
Yeah, don't count on that.
Hopefully everything gets all cleared out. Bray Wyatt's supposed to be doing a meet and greet the day after, but I mean, still a couple months away. I mean, would you being like independent right now, have you even gave any thought to meet and greets?
Well, tomorrow I'm going to Selmer, Tennessee to wrestle, and I'll be in Jackson, Tennessee Saturday to wrestle, and I'll sit out there and meet the fans. This virus doesn't I live my life, man. Life's short, and I just live it. Like I use all the precautions. I wear a mask. I take temperature checks and all that. But like I'm not going to stop living my life. So I'll be in Tennessee the next 2 days wrestling. And meeting the fans.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. You gotta do what you gotta do. Chalmers again. Hey, can you ask him about Axel Rotten? Oh
yeah, with my trainer, one of my best friends. I miss him every day. He taught me a lot. We had so much fun. We just doing anything, going to concerts, going to movies, hanging out. Like, it was my buddy. He not only was my trainer, my mentor, but he was my buddy. So I miss him every day, for sure.
James, have you ever watched Total Divas? Oh, here we go.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, who hasn't?
So, to that reference, Wrestling Days. This is the Wrestling Days community here, and he does watch-alongs every Thursday, and he lets it out to Twitter to vote for shows, and then it goes into a poll. And for some reason, the community makes Days watch Total Divas. I think they're up to episode 13, 14 now at this point.
Everybody's a closet Diva fan, but I mean, I really enjoy watching now because I got to know the girls. I worked with them every day.
Yeah.
And so I know all their real personalities, and when I watch Total Divas, it is pretty much the real personality. So I just laughing because that's really Natty, that's really Naomi, that's really Carmella. You know, when she's on there, it's, I don't know, it's just fun for me to watch because I know them now, you know.
And I'm assuming it's the same way when the cameras turn off and, you know, everybody can have a good laugh and go out. Yeah. Okay, that's not relevant to this chat. Any more backstage stories? Someone wants to know, like with the whole Shane thing. I mean, obviously there's no ELlSEWORTH heated with somebody backstage or getting in a brawl with somebody or.
You know, funny. Have you ever seen anybody that works for WWE ever say a bad word about me?
No.
No. I worked with the WWE Divas, or the women's wrestlers there, and a lot of people, especially in the wrestling community, would consider them some of the most beautiful women in the world, you know, what have you. And none of them have ever said a bad word about me, right? So, I mean,
there's got to be a reason, right?
Yeah, so people should really think about stuff like that. Take it in consideration. So I'm not a perfect person, but I'm a very respectful person. I don't put anybody in situations they don't want to be in, and I treat people with respect, and I definitely treat people with the respect they show me. So that's just me in a nutshell, the real me.
Yeah, and that's, everybody just sees the same, obviously what they want you to see on TV, and just like, kind of like, for a good example, Baron Corbin. Everybody sees Baron Corbin, can't stand the guy, but yeah, like, I'm sure you've had plenty of backstage runnings with him.
Oh man, Baron Corbin and I got along great. We just make fun of each other all day, and we just had fun with it. Like, I didn't know him at first; he didn't know me, so he was kind of like making fun of me at first, and I just started making fun of him back, and he just started laughing. I'm like, oh, see, this guy's not a bad guy. Like, and he plays the heel character well. He gets people to hate him, and that's what he's supposed to do. So yeah, like, but he was great to me. We had a lot of fun. Every time I think about it, I just smile. Like, I really wish they would let him use more of his real personality on TV, because I think his real persona is a lot more entertaining than the one they have him put, you know, on TV.
Yeah,
and you know, it's a shame. Like, if he was himself times 100 on TV, I think he'd be doing a lot. You know, people would be a lot more interested in him. But he's a cool guy. He's actually a very entertaining guy in person. So
here's a good question, James. How can somebody go about getting your merch?
So go on my Instagram, James ELlSEWORTH Wrestling, and you just message me on there, and I'll message you back. And you know, all the items I have. I actually have these Women's Money in the Bank replica briefcases that I sign and put merch in it. I sell those. Every time I wrestle, I sell my boots right afterwards, ring worn boots.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I do, you know, I just do fun stuff. I haven't been wrestling much because of the pandemic, as I like to call it, not pandemic, pandemic. So I've been selling stuff and, you know, whatever, just not, so I try not to touch my savings. Like, all the money I made in WWE and all, I save because I have 2 daughters, and, you know, I already have a house. I have everything I need. I don't need anything else really. And so I try to save it all for them when they get older, and make sure they're always taken care of.
That's right, guys. Get your final thoughts in. We're going to be around for a couple more minutes, and then we will be saying goodbye to James. What did you think of the Funhouse?
Oh, the Funhouse is great. They're going to air another one tomorrow on SmackDown. I love the little rabbit. Rambling Rabbit.
Rambling Rabbit.
Then he made a T-shirt of just the Rabbit because he's pretty over. I like him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, has Bray even, like, said anything back in the day when you were there about anything, like, that's happening now? Or, like was this...
No, I think he came up with the whole thing, but when I was there, he never brought it up. He was just doing his thing with the Wyatt family.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, you had to run in with John Cena, too, haven't you? In the
a match. Yeah, we had a tag match, Carmella and I against John Cena and Nikki Bella on SmackDown.
Yeah.
So I got to wrestle the most popular wrestler of this generation.
Yeah,
so
no big deal, right?
Very cool. Another great guy. John Cena's an amazing guy in person. Very
definitely one of my favorites. And going back to Baron Corbin just real quick. So funny story about him. He came to, I think it was a house show. He came out. It was right after he lost the briefcase because of Cena. And I had a Cena hat on, and I was literally right up against the ramp. And he came out, and I have videotape. I said, "Hey, where's your briefcase now?" And he just like got up in my face and then just walked away.
Was I on that house show?
I don't think so. I don't think I've ever seen you in person, to be fair.
Was that when they did the angle where I was suspended for 30 days?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I was mad because I had a lot of. There was a house show in Delaware, which is like an hour from my house, and I had a lot of friends and family going. They did that angle. Oh, I was so mad. I was like, why are we doing this? This is killing our heat. Like, Carmella and I had so much heat after winning the bag, and they did an angle where I was gone for a month. I'm like, So that wasn't one of my favorite angles. For sure. I like to work. I like to perform. So when it was cool to get paid for 30 days, not to do anything, but at the same time, that's not me. I don't care about the money. I want to entertain and have fun. Man, that wasn't cool. I didn't like that angle.
Wrestling Day, speaking of here he is. He says, "James, I bought one of your shirts and went to a WWE show just to see you. I have no questions, just wanted to say thanks. I love seeing an enhancement talent get over as big as you have."
I appreciate it. I always appreciate anybody that supported me and bought any of my merchandise, which to me is still like mind-boggling how so many people have a T-shirt with my face on it or an action figure of me or a trading card. Or it's mind-boggling me to this day that there's people out there that have that. It's really, really cool.
Do you have any so when you go to the ring, like especially right after you won the women's Money in the Bank briefcase, like do you have any, like, obviously you didn't like go to a single person and like start something with them, but do you have any like stories about like, because you could hear us, I'm assuming, right, from the ramp. I've never been down the aisle or anything like that to know, but it seems like they can hear everything that you say.
At house shows, definitely. I remember I was holding the briefcase for Carmella and she was wrestling or whatever, and these two guys just kept heckling me the whole match, and they're like, "James, you're not wrestling, you're just standing there doing nothing, you're just being a cheerleader for Carmella." And I remember after the match was over, I turned around, I went over to those guys, I said, "Guys, I made more money just standing here cheering for Carmella than you're going to in the next month." And I remember, like, when I went back on the indies, those same guys, I didn't remember them, but come up to me and they're like, "Hey, do you remember saying this to us?" I was like, "I remember saying that to somebody." Yeah. And they're like, "Yeah, that was us." And they like bought like a bunch of merch for me from the table. So
ain't that something?
So they weren't James Ellsworth fans until I interacted with them. They just thought it was so cool that I turned around and said something to them that they became fans of mine. And like nobody's words bother me. Like, words are just words. So I just have fun with everybody and try to keep everybody entertained.
It's so real. It's, like you were saying, it's so real that people's buying all your stuff and all that. And I'm sure you have an action figure of yourself, yeah?
Yeah. I got I kept one of each. Got one of the Elites, and then one of the Carmel and I 2-pack. So I kept one of each. It's just hanging in my room on the wall, and it's cool to look up and say, "Hey, man, I did that when I started wrestling school in 2002. Everybody's like, 'Oh man, you're small. You don't look like a star.' Da, da, da." And then it's like I look up and I see those action figures. I'm like, man, I made all those people eat crow. Like, it's just I did it. So it's a really cool feeling.
Now, the Elite didn't come with the Oscar robe, did it?
No,
When
they
came
should
back.
make one with these. Yeah, like the Carmella and I 2-pack was actually the gear we wore when we wrestled Nikki Bella and John Cena. I only wore that gear once, and they made an action figure out of it.
Whose idea was that? that ring gear.
What the gear I wore with John Cena?
Yeah, the money
Oh, the Money in the Bank
hat.
gear. That was my idea. I just wanted to be over the top, and this guy Ruckus who wrestles on the Indies. Look him up, Ruckus. He's an amazing talent. You'll be very if you don't know who he is, you'll be very, very surprised if you go to YouTube and look up Ruckus, Ruckus. You'll be very, very entertained. But anyway, he wore that gear on the Indies, and he lives in Baltimore here near me. And I remember messaging him, "Hey man, can I borrow that money suit?" I was like, "I'm gonna wear it on Money in the Bank." And he's like, "You're gonna wear it on pay-per-view?" I was like, "Yeah." So I went to his house. He gave it to me. He said, "It's yours now." He's like, "Wear it on pay-per-view. Have fun." And I remember when I wore it out, he's like, "Man," he's like, "It was one of the coolest things in the world seeing you wear my suit on Money in the Bank." I was like, "Yeah, I'll return it." He goes, "No, keep it. It's yours now." I was like, he's just a really good friend of mine. So that was real cool.
Make sure you that's that. This No Chin Music. how well did that get over with Sean?
Oh man, Sean was very nice to me. I remember WrestleMania that I got to be on, WrestleMania 33. I walked to the ring with Carmella. And the next day, I put a tweet up, and you can go find it, of Carmella and I walking down the aisle at WrestleMania. And then right next to that picture was a picture of Shawn Michaels and Jenny McCarthy walking down the aisle at WrestleMania 11. And this is a true story. When I was a kid, and I was watching Shawn Michaels walk to the ring with Jenny McCarthy. I'm 11 years old at this time, WrestleMania 11. And I'm like, man, someday I'm going to walk down the ramp at WrestleMania with a hot girl, or whatever. And, me being a character, I remember putting the tweet up saying that, like, hey, when I was a kid, I dreamed of walking down to the ramp with a hot girl just like Shawn Michaels. And not only did I accomplish that dream, I walked down the ramp with even a hotter girl, Carmella. And he retweeted it, and he wrote something along the lines of, "You absolutely did. Congratulations." And like I remember showing Carmella, and Carmella was like, "Oh my God, Shawn Michaels thinks I'm hot." Or I was like, "I don't know. I'm just here to tweet." You would have to go way back to 2017 to find the tweet, but it's there.
All right, guys. So, James, where can we find you on all of your socials platforms? Where can everybody look you up and find you?
Twitter at ELlSEWORTH, Instagram at James Ellsworth Wrestling. Those are my two main things. So just find me there, and hopefully I'll get a YouTube page going here soon. But if I do, it'll be on my at James Ellsworth Wrestling Instagram or my at ELlSEWORTH Twitter. You'll see it on there.
All right, guys. And with that, we are out of time, and I will see you guys later tonight for the After Hours Club. Stay tuned for that. And I think it's just fitting to go out with your catchphrase.
Yeah, guys, stay safe, take care, God bless, and remember, any man with two hands has a fighting chance.
See you later, guys.
All right.